Hey, impressive chessers! Today we're going to go over a concept I call exposed pieces. But before we get to that, if you would like to try all these puzzles, please go to the blog, post it in the comments, and you can check that all out because this video is going to give away the answers. Before you pause the video, though, please like and subscribe. That would be awesome. And then you can come back and check out your answers. By the way, there will be some answers and puzzles in the blog that will not be in this video because this will be a shorter video. All right, so here we go. We're going to go over the concept of exposed pieces, like I said. And, well, what is an exposed piece? Let me show you by the start of this game. So it starts out with the Caro-Kann defense. Very good opening. And white does not play the most common move. The most common move here is d4 to take over the center, open the bishops, all that good stuff. And in fact, d4 is the move that I normally play. However, if I want to try this variation I call the win a piece variation, you guys can read in the blog why it's called the win a piece variation and who invented it. But I would go knight to f3. Of course, they go d5 to attack in the center. That's the whole point of this c6 move, is to, if I was to take that pawn, here, I'll just play it. They would take it right back with the pawn, and their queen's not out in the open, ready for our knight to just chase it away. And as you can see by that eval bar, that position is totally equal. So white plays a little bit more aggressively, takes away the square for that knight, and black plays the best move, in my opinion, that they have, which is to pin the knight. So if this knight moves, do so at your own risk because you will lose a queen, which is worth 9 points for just a 3-point bishop. All right, but this bishop is actually an exposed piece. It's our first exposed piece of the game. An exposed piece is any piece that is attacked the same amount of times as it's defended. So in this case, this bishop is not attacked by anybody, but also it's not defended by anybody. So 0 minus 0 is still 0. Those are the pieces you're looking for. So why are we looking for those pieces? The reason is that those are the pieces that we can fork, that we can skewer, that we can pin, because they have no defender or the same amount of defenders as attackers. If we add one more attacker without them being able to add a defender, then a lot of times we can just win that piece. And that's what we'll be doing a lot in this game. So white plays d4 and black plays, again, my favorite move. So far black is playing very well. They've developed their bishop, and by the way, there's this defense that I play actually where the bishop gets stuck on c8 inside the pawn chain. When you bring it outside the pawn chain, that's what it's called. It's bringing the bishop outside the pawn chain. And the pawn chain, by the way, is these pawns form a pawn chain. This one guards that one, and that one guards that one. And that's what that's called. And so, yeah, if you had a bishop back here on c8, this bishop would not be very happy right now. But it's way out here, pinning this knight, very aggressive. All right, so white plays c3, starting the trap, and black plays c5, which, again, good move. Attacking the center. And now white does a move that's normally not a very good idea, actually. They take this pawn. And the reason it's not very good is we are trading off our very nice center pawn for this not as nice side pawn, the c pawn. It's pretty close to the center, but it's not a center pawn. The center pawns are the most valuable pawns on the board. Because not only do they control those two squares, but they control those two squares in the middle of the board. All right, so Now, first trap number 1, the bishop takes on c5, and you're going to notice this eval bar shoot up. There it goes. All right, because this is a blunder. This is how you can really trick some people, because they'll just be like, "Oh, this guy doesn't know how to play chess. He just traded off a center pawn for a side pawn," but they've left themselves with 2 exposed pieces. Both those bishops have no defenders and no attackers. And all right, hopefully you guys see the answer. If you don't, take a second to pause your video and try to find out how we can take advantage of one of these exposed pieces. All right, here it is. It's queen to a4, checking the king, but not only that, hitting the exposed piece, what we just talked about. And unfortunately for black, this bishop cannot jump over the pawn and block the check. So the best they can do is like block it with a knight, or doesn't really matter because next move, we don't care about that. We are coming over and winning that bishop because it was on exposed square. All right, let's go back to when black blundered. Now, that was trap number 1. Now let's go for trap number 2, which goes with knight to c6. And now white goes a little too far for the traps. I would call this move an example of hope chess. They play bishop to b5. And I give that this is a symbol for dubious move. As you can see, black is slightly better, or it's basically equal, actually. And the reason is that basically black can take the knight. We will take back. They will take our pawn right here. And our most aggressive move is to come over. Oh, actually, we should kick the bishop first. And then come over to g3 to try to hit that pawn. But it actually doesn't work that well because they played this great move, which sees our threat, but does one of their own. We can even try to take their knight and be like, oh, hopefully he takes with the knight and we'll take that rook. But if they're paying attention, they should take with that pawn, and our queen will need to move. And at that point, the rook comes in. We're actually up a point here, but this is not a position that I would like. We're getting attacked really hard here. We're way behind in development. The computer does not like our move, which we would not know if we were not cheating, but all this to say that we are not doing very well here. All right, so that's why, actually, if you really want to play this opening, the move I would recommend here is bishop to e3, just to guard up that pawn. It's also setting another trap that if they take our pawn right here, they're like, haha, you can't take me, because if you do, that is a big-time blunder. We've just blundered our queen for... We do get one check, I guess. Or we get 2 checks. And then after he blocks with the pawn, we're about to lose even more material here. So, yeah, don't do that one. But what you can do is that check again. And this time, he's like, okay, wait. It's not an exposed piece anymore because I've got this covered. So I'm going to block with the queen. And if you take my queen, the knight will just take it right back. And as you can see, this is totally fine for black. And that's because this is a very bad move. All right, so hopefully you guys see a better move here for white, which is actually bishop to b5, pinning the queen. The only way to save this queen is to block it with the knight, but that knight was guarding the bishop. Boom. Exposed piece goes down again. All right, so that's what I would recommend for white. Bishop e3, or honestly, the move I play right now is I don't go for this trick anymore. Except when I'm feeling a little frisky, I will occasionally go for it, but normally I just play d4 and play solid and good chess. All right, but if you're looking for some tricks, you can try this bishop to b5 move. And this time they're like, okay, I know I have this exposed bishop here, but I have blocked this check with the knight already. All right, so now definitely pause your videos if you have not tried this out before. What is white's best move? And I'll give you a hint. There's only one winning move. All right. Hopefully you did not say queen to a4. It looks very tempting because it's double hitting this knight, which is only guarded by a pawn. So we got 2 versus 1 there. We also got 1 versus nothing over here. So let's put them in green. These are the good things about the move. The bad things is it doesn't quite work, actually. They'll take here. We check here, and they play the amazing king to f8. You're like, what? It's obviously better to take that bishop, but actually, it's one of the very few times when you're in check, it's better to run like a chicken out of the check. Because if you were to take out the attacker, now look at all these exposed pieces on the board. That is not good for black. That is bad news. So yeah, we go king to f8. Now they might think, cool, we'll save our bishop to attack the rook. But so does black. They'll save their bishop and attack the rook. Then they'll take the rook. And then we'll take the rook. And at the end of all that, black is slightly better. So that doesn't quite work. Let's go back to right here. Hopefully you guys saw that you need to do this move first. Now king to f8 makes no sense because we haven't taken the knight. They would either just take the pawn or just... I would probably just run away, actually. We've already won a piece. We don't need any more points, so we don't need to get involved in what happens after we take that pawn and get attacked and all that stuff. Let's just get our bishop out of here to this nice safe square. And we're up a piece. They can't even castle. This is looking great for us. All right, so king f8 doesn't work. They need to take the bishop. And now we go here. And we are really taking advantage of all these exposed pieces. Usually pawns are not an exposed piece, but in this case, taking that pawn will also make this rook an exposed piece with one attacker and only one defender. It also forks the bishop and the king. All right, so they're most likely going to play this move, which is not their best try, but it's the most natural move. Their bishop was being attacked, so they're like, well, let's take the knight. But we're not going to take the bishop. We're actually going to do the fork that we talked about. We are attacking the king and the bishop for sure. And we're even lightly putting pressure on that rook in the corner. And that rook is an exposed piece now. It is attacked once, only guarded once. Same number of defenders as attackers. So if they were to block or check with the queen, now that's a hanging piece. A hanging piece is a piece you can just take for free. That's when you have more attackers than defenders. And those are even better. So unfortunately for black, they can't block it. So they have to run like a chicken with their king, either here or here. And both of those squares lose their bishop with another check, which is important actually because they need to get out of the check. And at the very end, boom, we take the bishop. We're up a whole piece. So that's 3 points plus a pawn even. We have double pawns, but I mean, when you're up a piece, that doesn't matter too much. White, if both sides play correctly here, white should win fairly easily by doing the trade down process, which we've talked about. When you're winning, you want to trade pieces, keep your pawns, trade off the big pieces. That will help you promote your pawns. All right, guys. Hope that helps you stay impressive and keep it up. Keep up impressing everyone with your impressive chess that you're learning from these videos. And I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.